You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play.
The options market can be a confusing place. Sorting through the daily avalanche of data, alerts, updates, articles, and analysis to find the most important information is an overwhelming prospect. But now you have help. Welcome to the Options News Rundown, the only program that breaks through the noise to bring you the most important news and information from the world of options. Every day we bring you the top 5 option stories curated by the options experts at theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for free options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in option trader education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's live Advantage group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider. And now it's time to break through the noise. It's time for your Options News Rundown.
Good morning. Today is April 4th, 2018. This is your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli. Our first story today is from investing.com. It's the top 5 things to know in the market on Wednesday. First thing to know is China announces retaliatory tariffs against U.S. goods. China hit back at the Trump administration's plan to slap tariffs on $50 billion in Chinese goods, retaliating with a list of similar duties on key U.S. imports, including soybeans, planes, cars, whiskey, and chemicals. Beijing's list of 25% additional tariffs on U.S. goods covers 106 items, with the trade value matching the $50 billion targeted on Washington's list, China's Commerce and Finance Ministry said. The effective date will depend on when the U.S. action takes effect. Second thing to know is related. U.S. stocks futures are hit hard as trade war worries escalate. U.S. stock futures pointed to sharp losses at the open as appetite for riskier assets weakened amid worries that escalating U.S.-China trade tensions could deal a blow to the global economy and U.S. growth. The blue chip Dow Jones futures plunged 425 points, or around 1.8%. The S&P 500 futures tumbled 37 points, or about 1.4%, while the tech-heavy NASDAQ 100 futures sank 124 points, or roughly 1.9%. Third thing to know is the dollar slumps as China hits back at U.S. The dollar slumped against the Japanese yen as safe haven demand was boosted by escalating trade tensions. After China announced the countermeasures against the latest U.S. tariffs, the USD Japanese yen was down 0.4% to 106.15 after sliding to an overnight low of 105.69. The yen, typically viewed as a safe haven currency, tends to be sought out by investors during times of political or economic uncertainty. Fourth thing to know is U.S. grain prices take a nosedive, which is getting better and better here. U.S. grain futures took a nosedive with the price of soybeans and corn faring the worst as investors fret over a slowdown in Chinese demand for U.S. agricultural goods in the wake of China's latest trade measure. The Asian nation is one of the world's biggest importers of U.S. grains. And the fifth thing to know is oil prices struggle ahead of EIA supply data. Oil traders looked ahead to fresh weekly data on U.S. commercial crude inventories to gauge the strength of demand in the world's largest oil consumer on how fast output levels will continue to rise. The U.S. Energy Information Administration will release its weekly report on oil supplies at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, amid analyst expectations for a gain of 1.4 million barrels. Our second story today is from StockGeeks.com. It's the financial stock buzz, CME Group. CME Group stock separated 13.26% away from the 200-day moving average. Tracking current stock price levels in relation to some other popular moving averages, we've noticed that the stock is trading 2.1% away from the 50-day moving average and 4.19% off the 20-day moving average. Checking on the recent price levels compared to prior highs and lows, we've seen that CME Group recently traded down 8.16% away from the 50-day high and moved 5.57% from the 50-day low. Taking a wider observation, the current separation from the one-year high is down 8.16, and the distance from the one-year low is presently 40.65. Our third story comes by way of CNBC.com, how the Trump trade turned upside down. When President Trump was elected, the markets rejoiced in the fact that there was a business-friendly administration which would help nurture the American corporate landscape by doing all the things needed for solid economic growth. After 8 years of an anti-business climate in Washington, things were changing, and they did change. Unnecessarily restricting regulations were rolled back, and taxes were cut dramatically. But the recent attack on Amazon, coupled with the tense trade relationship with China, has many of us asking, is this any way to grow the economy? Trade wars are easy to win. At least that's what the president told us when he announced tariffs on steel and aluminum a couple weeks ago. But as we have witnessed over the last few days of market action, the ancillary effects of a trade war can leave serious collateral damage. The reality is that protectionism in every form must be resisted at all costs, or we run the risk of a severe meltdown in capital markets. This is according to the author of this article. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is news you can use for today, April 4th, 2018, your Options News Rundown. I'm Dan Passarelli, Trade Smart, and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Options News Rundown. To learn more about these stories or any other developments from the world of options, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com, the premier source for free options information. The Options News Rundown is brought to you by Market Taker Mentoring, the leader in option trader education. Get trader education, daily trade ideas, and more with a free 1-week trial of Market Taker Mentoring's live Advantage group coaching class by visiting markettaker.com/insider.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.